Hi there. So new year, new tricks. So this is the first video that I record on 2024, and we'll continue of course with the topic of workflow improvements. And now we will start to dive into templates and how to use templates to improve your workflow and make it faster. In this series we will look into how to bring like Native Instruments Maschine into your template, how to store the template, and also a general look on what can you do with templates, and so let's get going with Ableton Live and see how it works. Okay, let's dive into templates and how to use them in your workflow. I have created my base template, and here what I have done is that I have defined all the return channels with the respective effects so that I don't need to configure them every time when I start a new project. Then what I have also done is that I have created the master channel chain in which I have also placed the different plugins that I frequently use so that I can easily then turn them on and off depending if I need them in my chain. And then of course one thing is also that what I did and configured for my template was that I did a key mapping to these, so you can do the key mapping from here, and then you can map these keys to open and close. For example, let's see here, and now you can see all the key mappings what I have done. But anyway, key mappings in a way that if I press a key, or in case I have actually programmed my iPad so that if I press a button here, it opens up the plugin from my master chain, so I can easily recall any of those or do an A/B test or whatever. So this then of course makes things faster and more easy to use. And this is pretty much my base template. I have one for reference channel, or sorry, for reference audio, and then I have an arrangement track so that when I'm in arrangement mode, I can easily then create, for example, a song structure here. So basically here I could add a clip. I could basically rename the clip as intro. And then of course I can also then change the color. Then I could basically continue that with, for example, with another clip that I could name as a verse. And this is basically how I can, highlight the song structure in mind. And then also later on when I want to loop this, so if I select this one and say set loop, I can basically set the loop on top of this, so it makes things a bit more faster. And that's basically my template, how I use it. But let's extend now the template with Maschine, because one thing that I see that people often do is that they use Maschine in drums. And that is basically then one way of you to kind of get it up and running quickly is to have a template in which you have your Maschine configured. So let's move into that and see how that is then done. I'll close the return channels so that they are not in our way. Then we need to go and bring in from Native Instruments the Maschine, and it's over there, so let's bring it into the project. And when the Maschine starts, it starts as empty, so you have actually nothing there. And in Maschine I have actually created a template that I can go and open, so it will bring up with certain ready-made configurations. So if I now would play, it would play, but you can only hear the audio from kick and nothing else, because I have already pre-mapped some audio routings in this. However, you need to go here into the output configuration and input configuration. So you can, this is where you can work with your plugins and things, and this is where you can work with your mixer and out channels. So for output, you need to see that each pad, or it depends of course your taste, but what I have done is that for each pad I have configured own channel that the audio goes out, so that then I can do the mixing in Ableton instead of in Maschine. So I have routed the channels for each and every pad. So if you go here, you can see that like you click here on the destination and you can select the destination to be whatever you like. In my case, I have mapped them one to one. So I have, and in general, Maschine has 16 out. So that's what I have done in Maschine. And then in order to get MIDI in from live, you also need to go then in the input and then the MIDI section. And then for each and every pad, you need to go and set it to host and then a respective MIDI channel. So like host 1, host 2, host 3, and so on and so forth. So I'll just basically leave it here, and we can now jump into the Ableton. One thing is also I disable the pattern, so now it will not play anything from the Maschine, but everything will come from live. When in live, you basically have the VS virtual instrument already in this channel. So this is always the channel 1 and 2. So if it's a stereo and everything is routed into the one stereo, then it's always 1 and 2, and everything will come out from here. But now I have routed so that only kick is coming here, and then also the same thing is that if I would go now and have kick programmed into MIDI, it will only now play the kick, and that's pretty much it. So nothing else. So, but then how can I extend this into other channels? Is that I have actually two ways. Another one, the one is a bit cumbersome in a way that you could create a MIDI track and then an audio track. In a MIDI track, you basically send the MIDI into the Maschine, and then you send it into the channel 2. In this case, if you want to send it into the snare, and then you basically here in external audio, you get the audio from Maschine, and then there is no channel 1, so it starts from channel 2, and set that so that now the audio is coming in. And then if I go here and program snare, now you can hear the snare coming in, and then it's playing them. It works okay, but there is actually a better way to do it than this. So what you can do is that you can, I'll just delete this. What you can do is that you create an MIDI channel or instrument channel, and then you can basically go into the instrument and you bring in an external instrument into that channel. And then from here you basically say that MIDI to where do you want to send the MIDI, and here you basically then select Maschine and then channel 2. And then also from here you can say automatically it selected that this is actually audio is coming from channel 2 into this external instrument. And then you can go and then program your snare respectively here. So now you have basically two channels programmed, and then of course let's add one as an example, an extra example. So, but the same thing applies. So you basically go and do this for all the 16 channels if you want to bring them individually. And I'll just put this in a no input. So like let's go and then bring in Maschine, and not the first one, not the second one, but the third one, and then also bring the audio from the third channel into this is track. And then if I go now over here, I can hear hi-hat. Interesting thing with this approach is that now you can actually, when you do it like this, that you have individual MIDI channel and audio channel for each pad, you can here now also use pitch. So you can basically do pitch in here in your MIDI. So then you can apply this. But if you would have only summing, then you would not be able to do pitches, because the one MIDI would be sent to a one instrument and no pitch information. So this is basically how you program these one by one. And then once you have done them, then of course you can always go and rename these. So this was the kick, and this was the snare, and this one is the hi-hat, and a closed one. And now basically I have all these defined. So then I could also go and group them and call this like Maschine or drums or whatever you want to call them. And then of course you can always go and change your color. I use red for drums, but that's again like totally up to you what color you will use, but coloring is good in general. So now basically I have it done and I'm happy with this one and everything works. Then of course you would need to go and continue, as I said earlier, to all 16 channels, and then you would have it here. And now if you would like to save this as a template, you can. And also one thing to remember, that the way the template opens is the way you save it. So if you don't want to see the browser, you basically close that one. If you don't want to see the returns, you have them closed. But if you want to see the returns when you open a new project with the template, you make them visual. So that's basically also dependent on how you save your template or so. So let's save it as this. So then you see that when I'm recalling it, I basically get it exactly like this. So let's go and save, and let's save this as a template. And now we say that this is a bass plus Maschine. And now we have our template saved. And then now if I go and just say that, new live set, what it does, it basically go and now use my default template. So I'm not getting the template that I find, but if I want to make that as my default template, then I could go over here and say that set as a default live set. However, if you don't want to do that, then of course you can always go here and double clicking the template, you can basically then bring that in as a new project, and then there you have it. So now you have basically the template up and running, and now you can go and start doing your drum programming and continue from there, and you don't lose time, you don't lose creative time to kind of do all the mappings one by one every time when you start a project. So this is a very handy way to kind of do it and use templates for this type of a purpose. So that was Ableton Live, and next we will do it in Pro Tools. So remember to subscribe for the channel. Stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye now.